All right, hello again. Welcome to the newest video from the chart reader. So hopefully the screen is starting to look familiar as you're watching more videos. Again, we have our top view where we look at our moving averages and horizontal support and resistance lines, as well as our two lower indicators, the MACD and the RSI. So let's hide these for now. We will come back to them shortly. So, as we did anticipate, there wasn't much movement from this horizontal line. I actually thought there was going to be a little more of a bounce up, but hey, at the very, very minimum, we did not continue down. So, horizontal is actually better than going down, right? So, keep that in mind. Again, all our indicators yesterday did show that it was going to keep going down. I sincerely just believed in my instinct, right? I've been, I've done this for a bit now, right? I've seen a couple different patterns play out, and an immediate drop from a big support line, it doesn't happen too often, and if it does, that's actually a very scary thing. So this horizontal movement is no surprise. Again, I still think we're gonna go up a little bit, right? So if you remembered, we use this 11.2, 11.1 now, whatever, and 11.3 number. I think those are a potential where we can go, right? I don't know if we're gonna fill this entire gap. I don't know if we'll come halfway, but I can see us going up a little bit before, again, I do still anticipate this drop, right? One thing I do want to call out. So the NASDAQ actually finished positive, very, very minimal, but it was positive. I'm going to move to the Dow Jones, the Dow 30 in this view. You'll see that this was actually negative on the daily. And then if I go to the S&P 500, again, negative. Now look, none of them were a percent or more, either the two negative or the one positive. I mentioned yesterday, there's a good feeling when all three of the major markets are consistent, right? When you see that continuity along the three, there's always a good feeling to that. The fact that I had two go down and one up makes me a little uneasy. Now, don't get me wrong. Again, these were minor percents, so for the most part, you can call it a wash. Nonetheless, I'm not a big fan of seeing two go one way and then an outlier with a positive go the other. So just food for thought. Again, I want to zoom out a bit and look at the weekly. So we saw this yesterday, right? We're not only on my horizontal, we're actually on the 200 moving average on the weekly view, right? So just a little double emphasis on this little area. And again, why I could see this bounce up even more, right? You kind of have two things to jump off of, not just the one, right? So the NASDAQ in general, like I said, we're kind of where we expected to be yesterday. Kind of moving here. I think we might be going up a little bit. Let's kind of see what the lower indicators are saying. So again, the MACD still by no means is it saying that we're going to start turning up. The one thing to say though, actually, is you can see that the slope moved a little bit, right? So it wasn't this hard down that would have continued here. We're kind of starting to taper a little bit, right? By no means anything drastic. By no means am I trying to make this seem like it's going to curve just to make my little bounce point move. But again, these little details are something I like legitimately look at, The slightest movement of a line could be the difference between making some money and losing some money, right? So I did notice this before I lowered it, right? So the RSI actually did a pretty drastic call upward. Again, I think this kind of helps with my bounce theory. Nonetheless, make sure you remember where we're at, right? We're still in a very hard downtrend. There's still a number of signs that show weekly, that show, right, monthly. We're still working our way in this downtrend, right? Like don't pretend this line isn't going down, right? This was going up, that one's going down. So don't forget where we're at. It's easy to see daily, to see things kind of start moving this way, maybe even a little this way. Don't forget where we're at. We are in a deep downtrend and it doesn't seem like it's going to end, right? And look, let's just actually look at the lower indicators for the weekly. Again, MACD continues to stay away from the red. It's far below the red, and actually it looks like it's kind of making a steeper turn down. Where's my RSI? Ah, look at that. Did not expect that, actually. Where is it? Who's winning? I have to do a super zoom. I can't even really tell. Let's just click and look at the number. So if you look to the left, oh wow, look at that. So the RSI, the green line, is 34.26. The 5 moving average is 34.28. So technically, the red is over, but by very, very, very little. So even actually a little discrepancy on the weekly right there. I actually was not expecting that. I'll be real honest with you. Yeah, I think this might be a short and sweet video. Again, let me just touch on the Dow and the S&P 500 since we're only at the 5-minute mark. My goal is to kind of make these around 7 minutes. I think that's a good amount of, give you a good amount of info, not try to overburden what I show, and really I don't want to take up too much of your time, right? So the S&P on the daily, so actually I got to zoom out a little bit because it's not quite in the same position as the NASDAQ. Let's see if I can get just a little closer. Okay, so the S&P actually did, again, obviously you see it here, right? It did go lower than yesterday, and we're now actually pretty much in the middle of this horizontal channel between this 3.8 and 3.6 number. I didn't make any lines. What does this one look like? Oh, wow, look at that. So this one's 3.731. We close at 3.735. So maybe this will be a nice little place to catch it because you see it actually hits both of these wicks and a decent amount of action over here. Hey, maybe this could be an actual bounce point even though we're kind of in the middle. That's a little reassuring, actually. I'm glad that line was there. Nonetheless, right, we are actually now 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row of a continual drop on the S&P. And what you see here, let me actually zoom in here. When you see a lower moving average go below a higher, so here you see the 8 went below the 20, that's considered a bad thing. I think it's called a death cross. If you want to Google a moving average death cross, I'm pretty sure that's what the phrase is. Nonetheless, again, everything wants to go up. This is another sign of down. And when a lower moving average, when the 8 crosses down the 20, right, that's not a good thing. So, but yeah, the S&P, let's see what the lower indicators look like. Again, the MACD is still well below the red. Hey, okay, the RSI is kind of doing the same turnaround that the NASDAQ did. That might be a little reassuring right there. And then let's just quickly see what the DJ 30 looks like. Again, that RSI kind of has the same turnaround as it does with the NASDAQ, right? So maybe a little bit of reassurance there. Obviously, that NASDAQ one is a little more drastic than the last two. So I think this positive day today, as minimal as it was, might help a little more than the other two. So I think that's it for today. Real quickly, I just want to show the website. So if you go to chartreaders.com, if you scroll to the very bottom, this is where you'll sign up for the emails. All you got to do is put your email and say you're not a robot. We don't ask for your name or any other information like that. So that'll be a quicker way to get these videos. Otherwise, hey, I don't know how you found me, but I appreciate you sticking around. So have a great one.